Hey guys, Damon again. I decided to make a second installment to my small steps towards real change video, and I'll continue to make it a series. I think there's plenty of ideas out there to work towards the future, and little easy, tips and tricks. So yeah, the topic of this particular video is going to be about grounding and balance. And the idea was actually from a comment/question that I got on my last video about my little EMF pendant. EMF stands for electromagnetic frequency or a field, and I wear it every day. I don't have the equipment to test to actually see if my energy field is more balanced or not from wearing it. However, I do feel that it is effective. But yeah, I used to have a meter to like test electromagnetic fields and radiation and things. And I lost in the move, I think. So, yeah, I don't necessarily recommend, going out and spending the money, buying one of these. The one I got is like the cheapest one on the website. I think the manufacturer is Q-Link. There's like some really expensive ones on there, but I do recommend, using one of these guys, or something similar. So what this is, I actually bought this cause I was lazy. Like you can like buy this for, or make this for like $2, but it's basically a 3-prong plug, right? So these two are your like power, right? And this one's your ground. So on this particular cable, this cable is only going to the ground. Like the actual like power terminals are not connected to anything. It's just to like, when you plug it into a power strip or an outlet, it just keeps it from like spinning around. And then the other side has a gator clip. So I clip this to my sock, which then makes the metal touch my leg. And so when I'm doing, like when I'm working with my electronics, and I have a couple of these, I'm actually wearing one right now, it just keeps me grounded. And I've seen tests, you can see people online, like, talking about grounding, and it is effective. It does work. I, in particular, find that because I work so much electronics and I am in front of like an LCD monitor all the time and computers and things, I build up, electromagnetic fields. We are bioelectric beings, so we naturally, kind of attract that kind of energy to us. So it's really important to stay grounded, and that's why I thought it was important for me to put this into a video more than, just the minimal response to the comment that I did. So yeah, highly suggest this. One thing I would say though is, when you're plugging it into like a power strip or an outlet at your house, if you have a 3-prong outlet, it doesn't necessarily mean that you do actually have a grounded house, right? Many older houses and a lot of like newer apartment complexes where, they obviously went with like the cheapest bid, so they're not using quality electrical installation materials, right? They're just not well grounded or not even grounded at all. So if you're not an electrician, I don't suggest pulling off the panel and like trying to see if the ground's connected or not. You can buy like a little meter that will test if your outlet is grounded or not. If it isn't grounded, then and you plug one of those in, it's not going to do anything. So one thing you can do is just pound a stake, like a metal stake. Obviously that's electrically conductive metal, into the ground, and connect a cable to it, run it into your house, through like a window or something in your bedroom, and get one of those like little like loop connectors on the end, and just like, oops, sorry about that. Just like, get like the loop that's like just barely enough to like fit over top of the ground and like slide it on there. And then you can plug that into your outlet, and it's the same thing. It grounds it out just like that. You can even do the same thing with just, taking that cable and attaching it to your leg or your foot. You can go crazy with it. If you want to get like, They make silver-lined sheets, and they make silver-lined socks. And I've seen a guy on YouTube where he like cuts a slit in the bottom of his sole, and he puts like a copper wire, wraps it around the bottom, and wraps it, back up through the sides of his shoe, and touches his foot. And that actually, he did prove with the meter that it does work. And the reason why I think it's important is, we live in the technology era, right? We're always around our little gadgets and computers and cell phones and everything else. And things that you may experience as like anxiety or hypertension or, just being stressed out may not be anything other than electromagnetic, radiation, right? I don't think we pay attention to that enough. So it's really important to stay grounded from a spiritual perspective and from a bioelectric perspective. All you have to do is ground yourself around electronics, be mindful of, devices in your house. Like if you live in an apartment building and you are like way above the ground on like a really high story, right? You are less grounded, especially if the apartment isn't grounded properly anyway, but you are far removed from the ground. And ground cables are most effective at short lengths. So if you're, 10 stories up or something, that ground cable has to go a really long ways to get to the ground. So you're less grounded being that high off the ground. Because the gauge, it depends on a lot of technical babble, but so it's important to pay attention to that. Smart meters, for example, like those, the meters that you find outside, like the meter reader reads. The new digital ones actually emit a radio signal that kind of like is able to log your power usage, and that creates a really high electromagnetic field. So like if your bedroom is right next to that, or like your apartment is right next to that, if you're very sensitive to electromagnetic radiation, you may want to either, put up some sort of barrier on a wall, on the like common wall to that, or even just move to a different place. If you're by a cell tower, like you'll find that you're going to be more susceptible to electromagnetic radiation. But yeah, like simple tricks would be, when you're talking on your cell phone, make sure that you're using your speakerphone as much as possible, and like keeping your phone away from your body. I know that we use our phones so often, and we're not really paying attention to them. We have them directly against our body, on our skin, in our breast pocket. You'd be surprised how different it makes you feel just having something like that, a device like that attached to your body. So if you can remove your phone as much as possible, that's really important. The same thing with like using your, like, let's say you, like me, I listen to, my phone is like my MP3 player in my car, and I play music off of it, and it's, ran into the stereo. Playing like internet music, off of like SoundCloud or Pandora or something like that, you're more susceptible to RF, which is radio frequencies, because you're connected to the internet while in your car, like 4G network. And it's like being in a microwave, kind of, because it's a metal box. There's waves bouncing all over the place inside there. It's not really a good idea. Obviously playing just music off of your phone is a better idea. That's why like antennas are routed out to your outside of your car. So that's a good tip. But even just naturally removing electromagnetic or electrostatic energy is, walk barefoot as much as possible. Go outdoors, go out into nature, go to the beach, laying in the grass and reading a book. Like, you'd be surprised how effective that is in just making yourself feel better and less stressed. Partially because of the electromagnetic aspect, and partially just because of, like calming your mind. Thought energy thought energy is energy also. So, creating too much buildup in that, even if if your mind is just going a mile a minute, it's the same thing if your bioelectric field is going a mile a minute, and it's, you're walking through an environment that is very energy imbalanced. The tendency, like electricity, it follows the path of least resistance. So that's why you get like those crazy ground loop noises or hums and things, like if you're plugging in something, and you're dealing with like sensitive electronic audio equipment. It's common in studios, like home studios and stuff. And it just comes down to proper grounding. So electricity, like, it exists on like a really, really small frequency band. That's why it's so unstable, and so being mindful of your relationship with electricity helps you be more mindful of your own body. Another thing I would say would be changing your diet to a more alkaline diet. Now, alkaline is very it allows your body to transmute energy better. The same thing with like keeping yourself hydrated. So the combination of those two things just in your diet is going to make a huge difference on how well your body is able to flush toxins and energy and things. So those are my ideas of what I have to offer this week. They are small steps. Most of them are free. If you do, as far as like the the alkaline and the pH, your body pH, like monitoring that. Going to a nutritionist or a naturopathic doctor and having them run some tests, they might find you a better, diet, like, regimen to, help you adjust your pH naturally. And that might run you a little bit of money, but everything else I talked about is basically free. So you can, just move your cell phone away from you. That doesn't cost you money. And building one of these is, cable things, they're like, $2. And just being mindful of that will help immensely. You'd be way surprised. And get out in nature, walk barefoot, hug a tree. Like it sounds funny, but it does work. I promise. The nature, the ground, grounding is about the ground. It literally, removes electrostatic energy from our air. So, that's what I have. I've been playing with my camera and technology and stuff this week, being grounded as well. But yeah, so I took a trip out to the forest. I live in Portland, Oregon, and I'm kind of blessed because I can walk like 20 minutes from downtown Portland into an old growth forest. And I took a friend who's moving out of the country here in a couple weeks. He'd never been, and he's been living here for a while. So I just did like a little video compilation of that so you can see what's going on there. And the track that I put to that video is actually a track that I did a couple months ago for a remix contest. I didn't win the contest, but it was a really fun project to do anyway. So I haven't released it yet, so I wanted to like just share a little snippet. So yeah, there you go, guys. I'll make some more videos as the week progresses, and until then, have a great day.
That's it. Work it. That's it. Good. A little faster. Harder. Come on, get into it. Harder. That's it. That's it. Come on. Get into it. Faster. Do it faster.